Hello again, this is Jack Hanna coming to you from my office at IPFW in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Today we are going to be looking at and discussing limiting factors as they apply to temperature and moisture. To discuss temperature and moisture is to talk about climatology. There are large temperature differentials all over the earth. These temperature differentials are dictated by the amount of land and the amount of water. It is also dictated by the latitude that you are investigating. For instance, the poles of the earth receive 40% of the heat that the equator receives. Land heats quickly, but cools quickly, allowing for large temperature fluctuations in a 24-hour period. The oceans of the earth are quite different. Water heats and cools very slowly. This allows for a low amount of temperature difference over a small amount of time. Yet another factor that dictates the temperature of an area is the tilt of the earth. As the earth tilts back and forth, it changes the amount of heat delivered to a specific area. This causes the seasons in the northern and southern hemispheres. Water, along with temperature, is the most important factors physically affecting the ecology of an organism. All living organisms, whether it is a plant or an animal, require water intake in some form. There is significantly more precipitation on the equator than there are at either pole. So animals and plants that require large amounts of water are well suited to live near the equator. Plants and animals that require less moisture and can tolerate the swings in temperature are more suited for life closer to the poles. The vegetation of an area is a product of its climate. This is also a true statement in the way of animals. Camels don't live at the equator and alligators don't live in the desert. This background information is to set the basis for today's discussion and demonstration on the limiting factors as they relate to the temperature and moisture. Animals and plants have two options in dealing with the climate of their habitat. They either have to deal with it or escape it. In escaping it, this can be done in two ways. Those two ways are either by evolving or physically moving to a more suitable location. Temperature and moisture can affect any or all stages of the life cycle and can limit the distribution of its species. Survival, reproduction, development of young, and competition are all major factors in these limiting factors. These factors are disturbed by their response to changes in frost drought and soil drought. An ecologist must look at both when looking at ranges of a species on Earth. Frost drought is caused in such places as the tundra when temperatures become too cold to allow roots to uptake water or animals to intake water for their survival. These effects can be easily understood and shown in cold-blooded animals. They require their climates to control their body temperatures and provide the needed moisture for their skin and bodies. Another way that temperature and moisture affects an animal is by the effects it has on its food supply. During droughts, herbivores have less to eat. During cold years, the salmon do not spawn well, and this limits the amount of food for bears that eat them. In the same manner, reef fish are dependent upon temperature for their food, as reefs grow significantly faster during warm months than cooler months.
As you know, every organism has a particular type of habitat that they are prone to inhabit. Though ranges may vary, these habitats are chosen based on certain physiological tolerances that are built into all individuals of a particular species. Take the American crocodile, for example. Crocodiles require consistent tropical temperatures and tend to exist in areas with distinct rainy seasons. Hence why they are typically found in southern Florida, the Caribbean, southern Mexico, and along the Central American coast south to Venezuela. So while an alligator may survive in water with a temperature as low as 45 degrees Fahrenheit, a crocodile in that environment would become helpless and drown. Temperature also plays a role in reproduction for the crocodile, as their eggs will only develop within a small temperature range. Also, because sex determination is temperature dependent in crocodiles, slight aberrations may result in all male or all female necks, which could possibly harm the health of the population overall.
In conclusion, temperature and moisture can determine whether a species will survive and flourish or dwindle and go extinct. Animals cannot live in places that are too hot or cold or too dry or moist. These conditions need to be just right.
This is Jack Hanna signing off from the beautiful IPFW campus in downtown Fort Wayne, Indiana. Come back next week when we will discuss the mating rituals of two-humped camels. Until then, save our #1 resource known as Earth. Always recycle and reuse.